Let us heads, we are back with another edition of Please Let Us Golf, the podcast. Today you got Goldie and Golfberg, and in just a minute we are going to be bringing on a guest. But Mr. Golfberg, how are we doing? Are
Second
we?
time around, I'm doing real good. Let's
Let's
tell him
break
you love
let,
it.
let's break the fourth wall. It's our favorite thing. We just had a little technology glitch. We
It was
may have forgot to hit record. Luckily, it was only about 2 minutes into the
it
podcast
was a
before.
fun intro. I was talking about the Amex. We had Scotty Scheffler, Blades Brown killing it. Why are they so good? Why can't we be that good? What is
And
missing here?
And you know what? Isn't that what it's all about? So if only we had a medium to be able to talk about getting better at the game of golf. And that's what we're going to do today with today's guest. So one consistent through line for the podcast says, we're golfers first. We love the game and we like having conversations about how do you get better. The difficulty in that conversation or discussion sometimes is like, what does that even mean? What does it mean for you? What does it mean for me? What are your expectations? What's your capability? How do you decide where your finite time and money goes into improving? And with the podcast, we've had the good fortune, we've brought on not only discussing our own experiences, but we've been able to bring on some of the top instructors in the world, people from the technology, business, innovation side of golf. And today we're continuing that conversation as we're going to be bringing on the CEO and founder of Performance Golf, a company dedicated to the mission of improving your golf game with accessible solution-based instruction. And they got a lot of other fun stuff in the hopper. So we're going to dive into exactly what that looks like for you. So let us heads, without further ado, please welcome to the podcast, Mr. Brixton Albert.
It's awesome to be here. Looking forward to the conversation today, talking about getting better.
So Brixton, really quick, we want to have a serious golf conversation, but that little technology snafu on a 1 to 10, how unacceptable was that we forgot to hit record on the first 2 minutes?
I think we all deserve a do-over. It's about how you come back and how you learn from it, and you guys bounce back well. So
okay, yeah, well, we'll take that.
Spoken like a true leader, Brixton.
Yeah, we could tell. So, and we got to say, you were coming from a sunny location, so you're out of South Florida area, right?
Yes, I've been living in Fort Lauderdale the last 11 years, but I did grow up in Pennsylvania.
Okay,
so I'm used to the cold winters. For
yeah,
sure.
So
yeah.
you must be able to regularly get down to the TGL events then.
It's crazy. I've actually have not gone to one, but this morning I was looking at, I see everyone posting. I'm like, I really need to go to one. And I think that realization hit me today. I've had a bunch of invites. I just haven't made it work. So I do need to go. I agree with you there.
And I did not think we were getting into TGL, but I think the issue is probably going to it in person is pretty cool experience, but that doesn't always translate to the television viewer experience. But that's maybe for another day. Maybe give us a report back from boots on the ground.
Yeah, I'm going to go in the next month and I'll report back.
That's awesome. So yeah, I'm actually a little upset myself. So I'm south of Atlanta, so I usually have pretty good winters. It's not South Florida winters. I'm going on week 3 of no golf. It's probably the longest stretch I've had of no golf in about 3 years. And I don't see a reprieve. I think we got about another 10 days of real winter golf. So, I mean, maybe I needed the break. So, but jealous of you. But no.
No, I was just going to say, I think breaks are good. I think, it's funny growing up in Pennsylvania. I was like, I need to be able to play year round. I think the off season should be a little longer. I think you have to get away from it to come back and be fresh. So I would say enjoy the 10 days.
Yeah.
So when you're back, you're really ready to go.
I'm excited and ready to go, ready to grind again. So if you could, we do like starting with a little context. We find it to be important before we get into all the fun, rabbit holes we can go down. But tell us the top level, like what is, for someone uninitiated, what is performance golf? And then I know it's a pretty interesting backstory of how you started it.
Yeah, I think the quick backstory on me is, I grew up, I saw Tiger Woods win the Masters when I was 10 years old. I don't know how I was in front of the TV that day, but golf became cool that day in April of 1997. And then my whole life growing up, it was just obsessed. I practiced golf 8 to 10 hours a day. My dad would drop me off at the course and I just loved it. Went on to earn a Division I golf scholarship. Wasn't quite good enough, to play on tour, but it's cool to see a lot of the guys that I competed against in AJGAs and national tournaments. It's cool to see a lot of them now on tour and kind of look at what the difference was between their games and my games. So I always had this passion for golf. And then once I graduated college, because I didn't make the tour, I got into digital marketing. And I showed brands, e-commerce companies, how to make a lot of money through their digital marketing. And then I saw this intersection between my digital marketing knowledge and my passion for golf. And I decided to start performance golf about 8 or 9 years ago. And it was really built to be, how can I create a platform to help the average golfer get better? I think we would all agree there's so much golf information out there. Golf is beautiful. There's so many cool things happening, but often it's hard to know where to start and how to really improve. And that's what led to me starting performance golf.
So, okay, you hit on a lot of things that we could jump into there. So we've had, I want to get into kind of your relationship with certain instructors and all that in a minute, but we dedicate a lot of time into what you just said of like how we teed it up in the intro of how not necessarily that we are the authority on it, but like from our experience of being lifelong golfers and better players as well, like these are the things we've done and invested time in, but these are also things we've failed at, of rabbit holes we've gone down. So
Sure.
even like building the company and business, how do you really start to hone in on, okay, what is high utility for the average golfer?
I think the big thing for every golfer is every golfer has that one core thing where if they could fix that one thing in their game, it would kind of get them going in the right direction. When you look at most average golfers, and like we build our platform to really help the 5 to 30 handicapper. I'm not trying to go out and help like a +2 or a +3. Like that's not quite what we built the platform for. But when you think about the average golfer, they all have a big ball flight issue. A lot of golfers slice. A lot of golfers are bad chippers, like they're just not good around the greens.
Mhm.
So if you can help a golfer fix that one thing, and that's kind of what our platform starts with, it gets them going in the right direction. So the first goal with the platform is, how do we fix that one thing that's holding them back? And often when you fix that, you can save 4 to 8 shots. You start to feel better about yourself. And then from there, it kind of comes to sequentially working on the right things. But that's like the key starting point, I think, for a lot of golfers.
Pull them in, give them something positive to focus on, and then we'll start honing in on the details.
Yeah, I kind of give the analogy. It's like when you first go to the gym, like if the trainer said to you, hey, you're going to have to do 5 workouts a week, you're going to have to do high intensity training, you're going to have to eat at a caloric deficit, you're going to have to do this, and that, it would overwhelm people. Most people would quit. But if you could get
Mhm.
them into the gym and show them how they're starting to look a little better, feel a little better, get them that confidence early, and then you start to layer in some of those things. And that's kind of how I like to look at golf improvement.
Did it mainly start with instruction then, or because I know you have these products as well?
Yeah.
Was it
So
that?
we
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we back in like 2016, 2017, when I was first launching this, we started with like an online masterclass, which was
Hmm.
basically step-by-step videos to fix your slice or to make better contact. So I would create this like step-by-step course to do that. And then once we got good at that, those started taking off like crazy. Then we started building game improvement clubs and training aids. Now we have in-person experiences where you can go and you can spend 2 days with one of the world's best coaches to really build out a custom plan for your game. And now we have an app that kind of brings everything together. So there's 4 kind of parts to our business model now, but it first started with just kind of online videos to fix that one big thing that, is often holding a lot of golfers back.
You know what's funny is I have a kind of similar trajectory. I was in digital marketing as well, and it was around
Nice.
those years, 2015, 16. We were helping people in the fitness world, so it was a
Mm,
little different. But and what happened was is like helping people, whatever, get in better shape, better nutrition, all that good stuff, right? Bringing them into a program that works. But it was around when COVID happened, our program was just destroyed because all
mm.
gyms shut down. We're helping like yoga studios and martial arts gyms and CrossFit gyms where people would hook up at the gym, but they could also do their thing at home. Your business, however, you were smart enough to be in the business of golf. COVID hits, golf explodes. I'm assuming that was really good for your digital marketing campaigns and everything else.
You've said some interesting things there. I mean, I had a buddy that had a fitness business and he was helping skinny guys get ripped and
Hmm.
like gain weight. And he was like, why don't you start a golf business? And at the time I was
Yeah.
thinking, like, I was a 26-year-old kid. I wasn't really spending a lot of money on golf. But what I realized there are a lot of people that are 40 and above that were spending a lot on golf. So that's kind of how my thing started. But yeah, COVID, when COVID first hit, I was like, oh shoot, this might not be good. But then on the other side of that, I was like, there's going to be some big opportunities here. And COVID ended up being great for golf.
Hell yeah.
Everyone was chained to their house. You could kind of play golf. That was like a safe thing to do. So COVID was really good for golf.
You just brought up something, and again, I had some maybe for later on talking about content in general, but you said something that triggered me in a positive way of, you said you weren't spending a lot of money on golf as a 20 something year old, but you
Mhm.
were aware, you're, intelligent enough to go, yeah, but there are people that are, and they're in this market of golfer. And that is interesting. So I've seen kind of track performance golf over the last year, and here of late, I've really seen a massive, I would say, upping of the game of your guys' content in terms of the video production and what you've been putting out. But it's just more philosophical, open ended. Not a, I'm the king of just saying things without a question, but I'm sure you could pick apart something that's interesting to opine on.
Yeah.
But it's like content in general. It's weird because as big as YouTube golf is, as
Mhm.
big as like, it's great to get this new generation, a new market. It's funny as we're dealing with advertisers and we're like thinking that they would be a little bit more intelligent on what they're looking for in terms of their ROI and their conversion rate. There's a lot of people consuming a lot of this golf stuff that really isn't a great target demo to spend $400 on an item. Or when we're dealing with a property, we're going to go review, hey, like, do they have $2,500 for a golf trip? Because the answer is likely not.
Mhm.
But such a huge market of, well, let me say, engagement metrics gets
Mhm.
consumed by that younger viewer. So it's just kind of a, I don't know, you guys seem like you're pretty strategic in what you roll out. So any thoughts on on that, on any of that?
I mean, there's a lot there to unpack. I
I
would say
know, I
kind of
love it.
going back to the beginning, like the reason I didn't start, and I see a lot of other CEOs and business owners go, I don't like that. That's why I'm not going to do that. But often what they don't realize is they're not the consumer they should be going after. And that was me when I first started.
Yeah.
I wasn't the buyer. So I actually had a 3-year period where I thought about the business but didn't start it because I was thinking I was the customer. But 26-year-old Brixton wasn't the customer. The customer was the 50-year-old guy that was spending a lot of money trying to figure out how to get better at this frustrating, humbling game.
Right.
So once I made that shift off my thinking to who the target customer was, that was really big. I think when you look at the golf universe today, I'm not here to talk bad on anyone. I think the golf universe is beautiful. There's more information than ever. The challenge that I see is it's kind of like you telling me you have a problem. And I'm like, I'm going to give you an 86,000 page book. Go spend the next 3 years, read it, try to figure out what applies to you. And that's why a lot of people don't get better at golf. There's a lot of great info out there, but that YouTube video might not be a great thing for you because the tip might not apply to what you should work on. It might
That
not apply to your learning style. So there's a lot of layers to this that are important, and I think that's what makes golf challenging to get better at if you don't
is,
work on the right things.
That's the, so that right there is what it's got to drive, like, especially elite instructors mad, because you got a dandy golf course, right? And the
Yeah.
courses are packed, and like 95% of them are not working on just like core basic fundamental things that could give them some, improvement.
Yeah.
But I mean, my father-in-law, love him to death, but he's shooting me the 60-second reel of like, I just move my thumb over
Mm.
and we're solid now. And I do get it. Even as a better player, you get a feel that you kind of, I'm not above it. Like, you'll see somebody say something, "Hey, I'm kind of hitting the ball off the toe a little bit here recently." And they
Yeah.
claim that this fix helps, but like packaging that and synthesizing it, like tailoring it for the
Mm.
individual. It's what I've come to learn in my golf journey is, while there are some universal truths, it really is individual of like what you're going to get out of it and what you need.
So
Though,
true. Yeah. I
and those
agree.
mini
I
tips
agree
are, they're gold though. I mean, they're so important, but they're also so just not transient, flighty. What I'm trying to say, like, they're important now, and then they won't
Mhm.
be important in 2 months. But 5 years from now, you might need to just move that thumb over again, and it might fix everything. And
Yeah.
that is the weird, and it's the weird thing about even giving tips online. Just
Yeah.
so confident, do this thing, but like, for those particular people I'm talking to, this really is the tip in the moment. It is going to help you. Some of you shouldn't listen to it. There's
Let
just,
me
yeah.
let me give you a great example. So like John Rahm, when he goes to hit a draw,
Yeah.
everyone that follows, like, he lines the club up 8 inches behind the ball, kind of off the toe,
Mhm.
really teed up high, and that helps him draw. And I can't tell you, a week doesn't go by where there's not some influencer or online golf coach where they're like, if you want to draw the ball, this is what you do. And I'm like,
Hmm.
well, that is that is a method for John Rahm to hit a particular type of draw. But then you just see guys, then I go to my course, I see people lining up, inside the ball. So it's so much off the toe and they're now manipulating path. And it's just, there's dangers to it. There's
I
pitfalls.
like to look at the data. As a golfer, if you're following random tips and you're getting better year over year, you know what? Go for it. But
Just do
here's
it.
the reality. When you look at what the USGA says, golfers that play for 3 years, they actually get one shot worse after playing for 3 years. So the data says golfers really aren't getting better. So if you're one of the rare people that one-off tips work for and you're seeing year over year improvements, keep doing it. But I would challenge you, if you're watching this, you're probably not. That's why the big secret that I found in golf after taking hundreds of lessons, I have filmed my swing 1,000 plus times, multiple years in a row. The big secret to getting better at golf is working on the right things in the right order. And if you do that, and it's not easy, we have a formula to do it, but if you can do that, you're going to turn some heads and you're going to reach your full potential. But if you're not working on the right things in the right order, I would kind of liken it to, you haven't, like, let's say I have to give you an open heart surgery. I'm a surgeon. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to poke around at other organs and I'm going to manipulate other variables. You wouldn't want a surgeon doing that. It's kind of the same in your golf swing. A lot of people manipulate other variables with randomness. And it's a big reason why 98% of golfers aren't getting better.
Right.
So I think that's a key thing to understand at a high level.
Yeah, it's like the men's group thing I'll bring up is like I play with the same guys for a decade and
Yeah.
they look like the exact same golfer 10 years later and just
Totally.
within, and it's but what's so funny about the golfer psyche is they will sit there and bitch and moan about it
Yeah.
indefinitely, but then not do anything about it. Maybe that's just
Well,
the
I think
human
Einstein said
condition.
it best, and Sandy's doing the same thing over and over again. And I don't think a lot of these guys are doing the same thing over and over again,
Yeah.
but they are doing randomness over
right.
and over again. And that's not the way to get better. I give a quick story. I was a +3 handicap at one point when I was 25 years old. I was playing the best golf of my life. So I had this thing of like, hey, I'm playing great. Let's really double down. Can we get even better? And I spent the next 5 years trying to perfect my swing. My swing was a little bit fundamentally off. So I started working on all these random things. I practiced harder than ever, and I went from a +3 to a 2 handicap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I could see it.
yeah, so it's just easy to do that. And you see it happen on tour so much. You see a guy playing great, and then he tries to
Never good
perfect his
enough.
swing, and he goes a step back. So it's really, really important to work on the right things and what I call the root swing flaw. If you don't do that, honestly, I think the odds of getting better, I would probably bet against you if you don't take that approach.
Maybe I'm a little surprised as a +3, it got right into fundamentals for you. And it wasn't more about like strategy and mental preparation. And because you mentioned you were a
Yeah.
college golfer, your scholarship clearly showed potential
Yeah.
on the front end, however that ended up. And you played with guys who went on to maybe it was, mini tours or actually got on the PGA Tour. It'd be
Sure.
cool to hear if you played with any of those guys. But you personally experienced the difference between being an excellent amateur
Yeah.
golfer plus handicap college player, but the grind of actually getting on the tour and what does it mean to actually be a tour golfer, which is like being from another planet. That's how it
Yeah.
feels. I'd be interested to hear from you a little perspective on what were, because it's fun to talk about 20 handicaps, kind of. I
Yeah.
get that's the big business model we have to appeal, but I'm really interested in what made someone like you realize maybe I need to, or maybe this just isn't going to work out. I don't know. Do you have a money moment or what?
Well, again, a couple of things there. I would say when I was a +3, my short game was really good.
Mhm.
And I thought, I could maybe make my ball striking better. Like there were opportunities there. So my thought was if I made my swing look better and improved a couple things that I didn't like, the problem was that manipulated a few other variables and
Yeah.
made me get worse and make me it just I didn't work on the right thing. Like what I should have done was said, hey, I got 4 swing flaws. Here's my root flaw. Let's just work on this. Because often when you can identify your root swing flaw and fix it, it fixes 2 or 3 things at once. I was working on the wrong things in the wrong order. Too much randomness. It made me worse. So that was number one. Once you get to a +3, I think the big difference that I've seen between the guys that make it and the guys that don't are, first off, some of those guys were better in school. So they were maybe
Yeah.
+5s. Okay. So they were better. But what they did that I didn't do is once you get to that level, you need about 5 or 6 years in a row where you just keep incrementally getting better and better. Like maybe a half shot this year, a quarter shot this year. And that is very difficult to do. That's like saying, hey, it's just hard to keep getting better once you get to a certain level.
100%. I remember the first time I hit being a scratch golfer. It's almost
Yeah.
like I got worse pretty quickly after that because it's almost like a mental thing. Oh, I'm scratch now?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm never going to shoot over a 75. I'm going to flirt with par all the time. And then you start having these weird rounds and going, I thought I was scratch. It's almost like you have to be able to live there for a while and go
Mm.
through the ups and downs of what being a good golfer, but still
Yeah.
sucking. And then, or I don't, I mean, it's just, I'm still kind of clueless. We're trying to figure out
Maybe live there, but again, it's like you got to make small gains. Like the guy that I always like to refer to is Jim Furyk. He was from my hometown. Jim Furyk's older than me, but like my high school numbers were better than Jim's. Like my goal in high school was have a better scoring average this year than Jim. And like he was older than me, but I was looking at our numbers. But what he did so well is he went to college, and that first year he got a half shot better. That next year, another half shot better. And you do that 6 years in a row.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you're a +3. Now you're a +6.
Yeah.
And that's what it takes. And, I think when you're a scratch player, your expectations go up. You
Yep.
got to learn how to be able to like lower your expectations, not put too much pressure. So oftentimes it's like these counterintuitive things you need to get good at to make those small, consistent gains.
So really, so you brought up seeing your swing thousands of times, and
Yeah.
you're chasing a look, right? So yeah, I did a post about it a few months ago. I got my handicap to the lowest it had been since a wrist injury, and what did I do though? We had just filmed something,
Mm.
and I was playing great golf, and the comments were like, I mean, I have a little bit of unorthodox outside takeaway, a little bit to fix. I was one of the, I think Andrew Rice was one of your performance golf guys, or had been
Yeah.
in the past. And I had worked with him because I had a kill move that got me inside. And anyways, over time, it was kind of like in a sweet spot for a while, but over time, it just got a little bit more and more
Yeah.
outside. But it was functional for me in the lesser of two evils. But the comments, man, this guy, yeah, I could tell he can play, but that swing, it's so far outside and it's ugly.
Yeah.
And I got Golfberg telling me, he's like, don't listen to these people. Your swing's amazing. And what did I do? I was going to just work on some stuff.
Yeah.
And oh my God. And I lost it. I lost I went literally, I had like 9 stroke scoring average over a 3-month period of time increase. And now I've gotten it back in the bag, but it is just funny how you chase like a look when it really comes in. I want to circle this back into like how performance golf actually does this, or how the program works. It's really not about that. It's, again, I go back to that individual package or need for you.
Mm.
And what are those incremental things? Like there's not an Ozempic to be a good golfer. Like I know if people want the get rich
They're
quick
looking for it though. Everyone wants that silver bullet, and
they do.
there
And
are
I
things that can accelerate. But yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, there's a definitely like a commitment and sustainment. So so performance golf. So I see that you guys do have these relationships or collaborations with top tier teaching professionals, but then there's also a program inherent to performance golf. So break that down. How's that actually work?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, like we like to meet golfers where they're at. And that's our goal because every golfer is in a different situation. Maybe I'm a COVID golfer. I got into the game and I want to learn through a digital masterclass because I want to fix my slice. So it's get you that first win. Or maybe I'm a 42-year-old dad with 2 kids that only gets a chance to play once a month. I love the game. I want to enjoy that time. I don't think I can get better because I don't have time to practice. So that's the guy that might need one of our clubs, like maybe our driver, to widen their margin for error to make the tee shot a little more forgiving. So a lot of our clubs are built just to widen a golfer's margin for error to help them fix one of their core issues or one of their big misses. So we try to meet the golfer where they're at, get them that first win, get them into our ecosystem. And then once you join our app, the app says, what do you shoot? What's your score goal? Are you a visual learner? Are you analytical? How do you learn? How much time do you have? And then the app actually maps out a custom plan for you based on your game, your time. And then you can even upload your swing into the app, and through AI, the app will say, Goldie, here are your top 5 swing flaws, but here's what we call your root flaw. This is your lead domino. We have to fix this first. So it's kind of like get you the win, understand your situation in the app, but then get you working on that one right thing first versus trying to piece together 38 different tips that might not apply to you.
No, okay. No, that makes sense.
So,
So how much of it is, I guess, for what's the word, like self-paced instruction? You go to the app, you get the feedback, you're uploading swings versus
yeah.
liaising with an instructor.
The cool thing is the app actually meets you where you're at and your situation. So it can be self-paced if you're doing it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But the beauty is within the app, you have a live coach in there. You can send a message to your swing and he'll actually get on camera and review it. Or, we have, so I went out and I built a model. I found 30 of the best coaches in the United States in some of the biggest cities where you can go and see them for a 2-day intensive. They look at your swing. They say, Goldie, hey, here's your top 5 issues. Here's your root flaw. Let's fix this. They help you fix that during the 2-day intensive. And then they help you identify that root flaw across all parts of your game, across your chipping, your putting. And last year we had 1,000+ golfers go to these and knock 5 shots off their handicap the first month. So it's a combination of, hey, I'm going to do it yourself. Okay, here's your self-paced path. Hey, I want to do a little bit myself, but I want to work with the coach. The coach is right there. Or, hey, I want to go see someone in person and kind of learn this really fast. That's kind of there too. So the model kind of works with you as you go based on what you want to do.
These clubs too, you're talking about,
Yeah.
like that can help fix something going on in your swing. Is it marketed as kind of like a temporary thing? Like, look, you're a 20 handicap, you're struggling with your driver, your margin of error. We want you in this thing for a little while till we get you to point B. And then
Yeah.
who knows? We might even help you donate this club to the next beginner who needs it, and we'll get you into
Yeah.
something that's more fitting. Is it like, because I don't know why I'm saying it this way. I think to me
No.
that would feel right. It's like
Yeah.
a stepping stone into something else. It's not like your cure all for the rest of your life. That stuff never made sense to me.
Yeah. So my chief product officer, okay, he spent 20 years at Titleist. He spent a number of years at Hanma.
We like
He
Titleist.
he worked on golf clubs for 11 world number ones. And I think Titleist and Hanma are great brands, right? But they're a little more traditional. They're a little more like high end, right? Type clubs.
Yeah.
And he came here and I said, I want to make a club that my dad, a 16 handicap at the time, if I put him in a divot, he can hit this hybrid solid. Because what I found for most amateur golfers, it's not about growing out of the club. It's about widening your margin for error. So you think about like the average 15 handicap. On a bad day, how many fairways are they going to hit? Let's say 3. On a good day, how many fairways are they going to hit? Let's say 8.
Mm-hmm.
If we can widen their margin for error and make their bad days 6 fairways, their good days 11 fairways, the goal is to widen their margin for error to make the game more fun and more forgiving. So it's not really a club you graduate out of. It's more of a club that just widens your margin for error to make the game more forgiving. And that's really the market that we're kind of going after.
For sure. Go ahead, Andrew.
No, you got it.
Well, just
you got one?
like you noticed, I mean, we play with these guys who just are kind of the same golfer for decade after decade.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a wrong thing. So like you said, you're not going to be on the grind, or a person might not be on the grind like guys like us would be. So let's just put something in your hand that's just going to make this a lot more fun.
Well,
I mean,
and it kind of goes into, so we didn't tee this up explicitly. I didn't want to freak you out. So we did a lot of scam episodes last year. It's not really scams, but we would do deep dives of like, is this a good use of your time? But it was everything. It was swing speed training, club fitting, and we'd bring experts on and we would try to give counterpoints where we would think, and then we'd come to some, consensus of where we net out at. But I say that to go, so much of what's happened in equipment has been 100% geared. It's just marketed for distance. And the data nerds, I'm a data analyst by trade, will tell you, oh, well, you get closer to the hole, lowers your dispersion into the green, closer to the pin proximity is going to lower score. Okay, great. Wonderful. However, most people are playing residential golf.
Yeah.
Most people aren't taking it that serious. So I've been pushing back of like, yeah, maybe giving people tools that makes the game more functional and in front of them is
Yeah.
a, a better model than let's get a swing stick and get in your backyard and throw your back out.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, like it's good to get a driver fitting. You know, if you swing your driver over 100 miles per hour,
Yeah.
getting a club fitted for you is great, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's some great drivers out there. I mean, I use the new TaylorMade, driver and stuff like that because that's great for me. Our driver wouldn't be great for me. But, when you look at some of these gaps in people's bags, like I'm in South Florida where it's super grainy, okay? If you're not so precise with your low point and chipping, you can look bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like even the best pros in the world, like if they're practicing all day,
get
they
some
look
dormant Bermuda into the grain. It can make any player look a little silly out there.
Yeah. So like we created a wedge where we do something called feature stacking. Like the key with the wedge for most golfers around the greens is how can we help them just make consistent contact? James Seekman, I think, says it best. He's one of the best short game coaches in the world. He says, I want to make contact around the greens kind of like breathing. It just happens, right? Mm-hmm. The problem is most golfers make bad contact around the green. They flub chips. So we created this wedge that's got like 6 features in it that all are geared where if you just can hit the ground with the club, it'll skid through the turf. It'll never really dig, and it'll just make your chipping contact way easier. So like this wedge is way better for most average golfers than a wedge with a sharp leading edge where you need to be so precise. Now, if you're a scratch player, a higher end Vokey wedge might be good for you. Mm-hmm. But for most golfers, these type of clubs just make it a little bit easier when they're all designed to solve a major pain point. Like in this case, hitting your shots fat around the greens or struggling with contact.
Is there any data on this or anecdotes or things you've observed of where is like that breaking point? Cause I've seen your clubs and types like that, when you start getting into that 15 and beyond handicap, it seems like they will adopt it easier, but there seems to be maybe in that 5 to 12, 13 range where you're going to get resistance where they're going to be, I'm not going to game something like that. Do you see anything like that on your guys' side?
I would say if you're under an 8 handicap, there might be some higher end clubs that often work better for you. Mm-hmm. If you're swinging over 105 miles per hour, there's some better clubs. Mm-hmm. But, like I'll give you an example. I mean, I swing about 112 miles per hour and I'm not great hitting my 3-wood off the ground. I mean, I'm not standing over 3-woods, just striping it off the deck. And, you think if I'm having that issue swinging 112 miles per hour as a scratch player, what about the guy that's like swinging 85?
Right.
And there's a lot of cool technology in our 3-wood or our Thriver where the sole is just way more forgiving. It makes contact a lot easier. And I think that's important. So I think every golfer has some of these gaps in their bag. Like a big one now is the 7-wood. 95% of golfers do not hit a 3-iron or 4-iron solid. That's why the pros are using 7-woods and 9-woods. So like a 7-wood's one of our hottest sellers. It's got all the features stacked to make contact easier. So I would say it's a blend of, are you under an 8? Maybe do some good fitting. Where are the gaps in your bag? If you have some big gaps, look for technology that can make those a little easier. I think that's kind of like the decision point that I would look at.
Yeah, Brix, I've been on that corner for a while. I don't understand the clubs that people select to put in their golf bag. I went through a phase where I had like 6 wedges, but I just wasn't carrying like a 4-iron and I wasn't carrying a utility wood. And I just messed around with it.
We were dangerously close to getting a wedge per degree. So his gapping was...
Wedges are my favorite thing. So I'm back to just a few now. It's back more in normal territory. But it is interesting to think like you're not a good golfer and you have a 5, a 4, and a 3-iron, like, and a hybrid. How often are you even using these clubs? Just from that standpoint alone, like maybe get some of that crap out of your bag and get something a little more functional in there. By the way, so a resident of our Please Let Us Golf community, Adam, he's our 8 handicap. Is that what he is, Goldie?
Yeah,
8, 9 handicap.
He's
really struggling though to kind of hone in and stay dedicated and get this game where it needs to be. Former D1 athlete, we'll give him that, but still it's not all clicking. We were joking before getting you on here, like, do we just need to load up a bag with all performance golf products?
Yeah.
Get it in front and see what happens. Is that an okay strategy?
Well, I
Just
would
see
love
what-
to learn more about his game. And I mean, I think like the way I would look at it is like, hey, like getting a driver fitted for you is great.
Okay.
Getting an iron set fitted for you is great. But like we're not trying to compete against, the TaylorMade driver or like the TaylorMade irons or the
Mhm.
Titleist irons. We're trying to look at the gaps in people's bag, like the putter, the wedges, the hybrids, the 3-wood, because those are often the scoring clubs. And those are often some of the hardest clubs to hit that, maybe aren't built to make it easier for you. And that's kind of our goal in those gap club areas.
And you did venture into the zero torque putter world, it looked like, or something like it.
Yeah, I mean, we have a putter, but I will say we've been working on a putter the last 2 years. That's about to hit the market.
Oh,
That is it's good. You're going to see it on tour this year. I've had multiple. I can't say their names, but I've had multiple lab fitters say this is way better than lab. A Golf Digest top 5 coach told me it has all the best qualities of a Scotty Cameron and a Bednardi. I've had multiple tour pros use it, and you're going to be seeing this thing soon. It's releasing in about a month and a half. So we have our first, like, let me just say, high-end product coming.
do we have the name for it?
I don't want to reveal that, but you're going to see it very soon. But I
We
will
shouldn't
tell
even be
you,
talking about it yet.
Yeah.
I'll give you one other thing on it. So putting's
Okay.
always been a good part of my game, and I use
We
an
love
Odyssey-
putting.
an Odyssey.
Putting's our favorite part of golf. So you can talk putting all
Nice.
day, Brixton.
So I used an Odyssey number 7 putter for 20 years. And I told my chief product officer, I'm not going to launch a new product, a putter, until you help me replace my Odyssey. And my putting's pretty good. I'm probably like a +4 putter. Like I'm pretty damn good on the greens. Okay. And he had to go through prototype after prototype. And after 9 rounds of prototypes, I'm finally putting this putter in my bag.
Interesting.
That's well,
I like the differing business model this time, because before it was we've got to appeal to these higher handicappers and figure out what works. You're not the customer, but that's what happens in America. You get to be the customer.
Yeah,
And we want to hit a different part of the market. Like
it's cool.
I've never created a club that I want a tour guy to use. It was built more for like the 10, 15 handicap, right? And this one here, we're going to take a different approach. Let's get this thing on tour. I've had multiple tour players hit it. We're about to be USGA conforming, and you're going to start to see it out there, which is pretty exciting.
You said something. You said you're a +4 putter, and I don't know if that's something you actually like. You just pulled that out, or it's something you actually
Yeah.
think about. Because that's how I talk about my game to people. Of like, I break it down categorically. Of like, from 60 to 120 yards around the greens, a putter. Yeah, I'm a +3 to a +5, and then off the tee, maybe I'm like a 2, or like it's stuff like that. I actually find that to be a very interesting translatable way to explain like your current state of your game.
I mean, I don't know if I'm exactly a +4, but I've always been a good short gamer and putter, and my ball striking hasn't been as good. So, I feel like I'm like a +3 to +5 short game, but then my ball striking's like a 3 or 4 sometimes, and that kind of evens out to being a scratch. But I talk the same way, so that's funny.
No, it is difficult. So I mentioned earlier, I talked a little bit about content, and so I'm curious. We like breaking the fourth wall or diving into business operations. We've kind of learned and struggled publicly over our last couple of years of what we do and why we do it and where we've improved. Where do you see like for your content strategy? I've seen a lot of like full feature YouTube videos go out. I saw your DOD video, of course. So, so kind of give us a little bit on what's your thoughts or what you guys got going on from the content front.
So when I look at the golf space, I think there's a lot of people that are great with organic content and they're great with brand building, but they're not good on the paid advertising side. We did a lot of focus on paid advertising. Paid advertising, you can scale faster. Like I've spent a lot of money on paid ads. Every week I'm launching 300 videos for paid ads. We have like a factory of cranking out videos. Paid ads, you can scale faster. They're a lot more expensive. But kind of the shift that we're making in our business model is we want to blend the organic and the paid side. And I don't think anyone really does that well. Maybe they're really good at one, but not good at the other. So that's kind of where we're looking at in the future. Let's make some great content that people love, So we're kind of starting to build that up more, and that's going to be a focus for us. But then also blend that with the paid advertising
You know,
because
I,
and
I got
scale.
to give you a lot of credit. I've not heard anybody be willing to publicly state what you just did. Not because it's not a bad thing, but
Yeah,
people want a shield or mask of I'm organic, I'm this, and I always rail on like, well, if it's okay if you're not, but also it's if you have a brain, it's not that hard to peel back where there is, strategic marketing or where some people have just been bought out by a third party or
yeah,
there's these kind of conglomerates that are buying up all of the golf influencers and people don't as management companies and stuff. So that comes in different forms. So I give you a lot of kudos because I
well,
don't think
thank you.
people understand the real back end of how this stuff actually works and what gets to your algo. And
Yeah.
we've struggled with that too, of like, we think we put out like really, really compelling original organic content, but it isn't
Mm.
2019, right? So you are in a different firefight than you were 5 6 years ago. Conditions have changed, and
Yeah.
doing back end marketing and getting good at it is critical if you're going to take the business side seriously.
Today's world's a lot different. I think it takes like 7 to 9 touch points for someone to buy.
Hmm.
So, someone maybe sees an organic video. Oh, that's
Hmm.
interesting. Then they see a paid ad when they're driving. They see like 12 seconds of it. Oh, look at that club. Oh, it does. Oh, it makes hitting a draw easier. And
Hmm.
then they're like, on the toilet, they see a little Instagram video with an influencer using it. Then they get an email. So it takes a number of touch points. And I think when you can blend together the organic side and the paid, but again, easier said than done. Paid, you can do faster, but it's very
Yeah.
expensive. Organic, to your point, takes time, takes a lot of consistency of coming up with good content, and it's a little
And
bit slower.
and I do think how it's not just like yes, if you have good stuff, you have a legitimate chance, but
Hmm.
how I hate using just the word algorithm generally, but for the masses,
Yeah,
for our 10 to 20 handicap friends, the algos, the dirty algos, I mean, you don't get rewarded the same way as you even had the opportunity to even 3 years ago. It's becoming much more incentivized to where you really, I think, getting ahead of it and being able to blend effectively, it's critical if you're going to scale.
I'm just
yeah,
curious too. Was social media like your main spot for paid advertising? Because back in the day, that's what we did. We made a
yeah.
killing off of like Facebook and well now the meta world. But YouTube always felt a little more intimidating. The whole SEO thing was just something I never ventured into. I'm just curious,
Mm.
what's your main
Yeah, we
driver?
did. So, I mean, I started paid media back in 2016 on Facebook at the
Yeah.
time, and I never wanted to be reliant on one channel. So I always aggressively tested a number of different things. So like I kind of ventured into like Google Display Network and YouTube and started to kind of get a little bit better and kind of diversify the model. But it was across all those things,
Yeah.
all those different
Hmm.
channels. Some are a little bit easier. It's easy to kind of get good at one, but
Hmm.
then, the algorithm changes and you're relying just on meta and your
Mhm.
traffic gets cut in a fifth. So that's kind of why diversification has been a key part of my strategy. But, paid ads are expensive. Like people that think, that paid ad, someone's buying a product, like I'm running to the bank with it. Like at the end of the day, my goal with paid ads is if I spend $1, I want to make back about 80 cents. I'm actually losing a little bit of money and
Yeah.
hopefully kind of optimizing the lifetime value. Paid ads, you're not often making money and just running to the bank and, like banking it. It's
Yeah.
kind of like break even, often if you're pretty good.
Yeah, no, I might talk to you offline a little bit about that on some of my experience as well, but it's simpatico,
Yeah.
especially hey when you launch a golf brand around lettuce, and you just brand everything accidentally around lettuce, and then it takes off, and
It's
we got the
working
lettuce.
splendidly.
It's been great, but hey, I think you can appreciate. I think when you're getting in the golf space, it's hard. So you started in 2016, so we started whatever late 23, early 24,
Yeah.
and not to dominate because we've talked about this on here before, but the one thing is like if you're trying to be creative, right, you're trying to name something that isn't taken, that there's not a trademark, you could actually own the IP, you could get the URL. We were late to the game in that, and almost everything was taken. So we like part of our superpower is just other backgrounds we had. We put a lot of stock in. It's something that might sound cheeky or silly, but it was very intentional, and like kind of laying those seeds a long time ago of please let us golf, and branding, everyone focuses on the please or the golf, but no, we're going to focus on the let us, and we're going to have lettuce. And now, like I said, our listeners dub themselves the lettuce heads, and these things just take off. They sprout. Now we got a little emoji guy sprout that we sell everywhere. So we love it, man. Like, this is really, it's fun talking to guys like you who are just like deep in golf and seem to get it, but also unique that you've lived this journey of like how you scale it on the back end. And it's kind of nice to just get an honest take from people of, hey, it's not all roses, and this is what the finances and economics really look at.
It's a lot of
look like.
Yeah, and congrats to you guys. You know, for anyone that kind of stays the course. I mean, there's highs and lows. You know, I tell people like
a lot of lows.
My big thought process in life is how can I quadruple my failure rate? Like, I want to fail more than everyone else, because I'm going to take so many learnings from those things to figure out what works and what doesn't. And that's a big part of owning a business. You know, it's testing a lot, seeing a lot not work, iterating, coming back to the table and getting a little bit better and constantly leveling up. And that's kind of a big theme of what it takes to be successful in business. And it's something that's super important.
Awesome. All right, Mr. Golfberg, you look, I saw some body language there. I got his cue. Anytime his perfect hair does a quick little swoosh, I know he's got a thought.
Yeah, I don't get why you do that, because I'm happy to just interrupt you when I got a thought. I'll do it. I'll just jump right in.
Well,
I'm just writing down all these life lessons from Brixton.
Yeah, well,
what I'm annoyed with myself is I feel like I had a lot of these skills and just never, like, my whole life, the only way it felt like you could enter the world of golf is if you were good enough at golf. And I was a good golfer, but I wasn't gonna. I had a moment where I was like trying out for a college team. I could have like redshirted and done the thing. I was, level below you, whatever. But like obsessed with the idea of being in the business of golf, but being like, I'm not good enough to do it. I wasn't even thinking that way when I was doing digital marketing. And it took Goldie to be like, what are we doing, man? Let's just break in and we'll figure it out as we go.
Well, the problem is you start getting into other areas and you make a little bit, you have a decent career going, and then you're like, well, I'm not going to make any money in golf. But then it becomes, you get older and you get some wisdom, and then now there is this whole new medium and opportunity.
Well, I think you guys are relatable. You come across as like the guy that really wants to get better. People can relate to that. And that was a big thing for me too. It's like, I could have tried to go out and be the face for the golf content, but I was like, do I want to be that guy? Why don't I find a guy like a Martin Chuck, who's one of the best teachers in the world, or a Hank Haney, or an Andrew Rice, or an Erica Larkin, and let them really come up with the content, because they're out there giving thousands of lessons. They're looking for ways to help golfers get better. So that was one of my decision points, where I just decided, let's find the best to bring them to the average golfer, because I know as a kid, I would have given my right arm to get lessons from a really good teacher. It's just, I couldn't afford it. My parents couldn't afford it. And I think that's really one of the goals of what we do. How can we democratize golf? How can we bring that really good teacher to that guy that just wants to get better, so they can learn the game a little bit faster?
So you brought up Martin Chuck. So another just little connection. So I give Martin a lot of credit. So he was probably our first big guest. We had a couple guests before him, but he was probably our first big guest. And it all came because every March, so there's been two of them. So for anyone, not for everyone counting, we do like an insane level of effort March Madness thing. You go, oh, that doesn't sound creative. Everyone does a bracket, but I won't bore you, but we do it in the most tedious, amazing way ever. And it's not anywhere near worth the amount of work you put into it, but we just have always had fun doing it. So last year we did top 64 training aids of all time. And obviously some of the Tour Striker stuff got in there, and Martin was like, hey, thanks. And I just was kind of like, hey, why don't you come on the pod? But I say all that to go, he's a really engaging person to talk to, like super, you say down to earth, but he has a very good way of, I think his key is that he's worked with amateurs, like, his whole career, instead of just jumping into the professional side. He can really translate information and make it like relatable and motivating. He's got that little like dick jab punch to you, but it's endearing, like he's just going to break. He's not going to like knock you all the way down. He's going to knock you down like a level, just a level set, and then build you up with some good information. So love Martin. He's a great dude.
Martin's an awesome guy. I mean, tons of respect for his ability as a teacher. Fortunate to kind of call Martin a friend. And I think you nailed it there in a great way. Like he has that beautiful balance in a way to do those things that you mentioned, which is one of his superpowers and one of the reasons why he's one of the best. And that's one of the things that we do. Like, we have an online course with Martin where it's around better contact. He breaks it down in a really simple way. But then also we have about 40 experiences a year where you can go and spend 2 days with Martin in an intimate group to fix that root swing flaw, get you working on the right things. And the golfers that see him in person, just tend to improve a lot faster, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Does anyone ever not have a root swing flaw? Or I guess the severity of the flaw can vary, but I mean, truly,
I've
question.
never seen that. I mean, I'm a big believer,
Okay.
like everyone on the planet, has about 4 to 5 things that are wrong with their swing.
Oh,
It's just the key is to work on that one thing first, because if you get the right thing first, it often fixes 2 or 3 things at once. And most golfers think something's wrong with their swing, but there's something else that's causing that. And if you fix your fourth swing flaw, you're often going to manipulate something else, to your point, Goldie, that throws off another variable that makes you worse. So I'm like so passionate about this because I saw, like, when I worked on the wrong things, no matter how hard I worked, I got worse. But when I worked on the right thing, I almost got better, like faster than I even thought was possible. Like, I mean, literally, like almost overnight, like bam, huge breakthrough, aha moment. So that's why I'm very passionate about this.
I could see it happening. What's more exciting than that, too? Your swing there could be an aha moment,
Well,
one little tweak, and there you go.
Well,
That is
but also
exciting.
just as like a player, you get through those runs too, right? Of like where your brain's just kind of, I'm a type A overthinker. So when
Yeah.
I am playing good and I go into it like thoughtless and it's just like execution, it's the Zen state. But then when you get off those rails and you're looking for that thing, I think to your guys' point of the danger is self-identification just off of a feel or something you think you see in a video. It can be, even if you're knowledgeable, it could be the best players in the world, like you said, do it.
Yeah.
I don't always love slippery slope arguments, but I think in this case
Most
it's a slippery slope.
most of the best players, I think the silent observation that most people miss is most of the best players work on the same thing over and over. They're kind of working on that lead domino where when you fix that, it fixes a couple. I mean, look at Scotty Scheffler. He's working on his grip. And if he realizes his grip being 1% better could make him better, think of the average guy that if he worked on that right lead domino,
Yeah.
how they could get 20, 30, 50% better pretty quickly. So I think those are just some small observations that are kind of key to point out.
That was one of the core clips we had with Martin was, just that, like Scotty's still using a grip trainer from time to time, but yet
Really?
he can't get a 10 handicapper to just grab it because they look stupid. And it's like, well, so maybe your grip that's inverted looks a little stupid too. So, it goes both ways.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. Mr. Golfberg, any big topics before we transition into the closing with Brixton here?
I didn't have any big topics.
Okay, yeah. Well, I just, it's
My big topic
I
is
do all
figuring
the
out
heavy-
this
I do all the heavy
root
load.
swing flaw.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Yeah, well,
I'll-
do you really want to know though?
no, that was my
You
point.
you don't crave, I crave information. You don't usually crave the information.
See, Goldie knows me well. The root
Send me a
swing flaw-
video. We'll break it down for you. Send me a video of your swing.
What do you
Um,
the
right
swing's
before
looking really good right
yeah,
now.
I was gonna say do it
it
right
is.
before because we're about to have, I don't know, we got like 6-10 travel videos we're gonna be filming. So do it right
Yeah.
before that to start working on some stuff to see if we can get Mr. Golfberg maybe to chase something.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think it's a little bit of like finding the right thing, but then having the right way to work on it. Like if you work on the wrong thing the wrong way,
Right.
that's kind of why it's like, can you identify it? But then can you work on it the right way? Then when you practice, give yourself feedback to make sure you're working on it. I think a lot of golfers, like they try random stuff and they practice and they don't know if they're doing it right. Then you kind of dig your hole even deeper. So it's identifying it, but then finding the right way to work on it. So send it over. We'll dial you in.
Let's all get dialed in together. All right. So, well, Brixton, hey, we really did enjoy this. Hopefully we'll have you back on. Maybe when we get this, we'll get this putter released. I want to see it out in the wild and see what that's all about. Really do appreciate the time and what you guys are doing. And, definitely encourage everyone to check out Performance Golf. I know I watch all of your stuff on Instagram and certainly now on YouTube. So yeah, anything for us before we depart?
No, I appreciate guys the opportunity to be on. Sounds like you have some trips coming up, so I hope they go well. And yeah, thanks for having me on today. I enjoyed the dialogue.
Yeah, well, we'll let you know. Like I said, I'm in Georgia, so if I'm getting down to the South Florida area, I'll give you a heads up. Go play
Definitely.
some
Please
golf.
do that. All righty.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys.
All right, for Goldie, for Golfberg, Lettuce Heads, we hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next week. And most importantly, stay plugged. Peace.